And just behind him was Steve Martin. The time for the last lap, an incredible 51.4.
What a great run that was, and Dave, we're maybe missing Steve Cram more than we imagined in New Zealand.
Very much so. It'd have been great if he was there. But in those games in Edinburgh, he was in tremendous form. It's a pity the Africans weren't there, because the form he was in and the way in which he dominated the 800 and 1500, and we saw it there. It was Crammy at his best, and yeah, of course, it'd have been great if he was in Auckland as well.
When you look back over, what, 30 years of 1,500 metres and miles, in Commonwealth Games terms, who were the real greats, the likes of Herb Elliott, Bailly, Kano?
Well, I mean, virtually all the greats are there, aren't they? Elliott, Snell. I think Kano was very, very special. It was a delight to watch him run. I was, in 1970, a friend and I sort of hitchhiked up to Edinburgh to watch that, and seeing Kano run there was an inspiration to me, and I think he set the pattern for Kenyan middle distance runners. So, but great memories, and we didn't often get the chance to see those sort of races in their entirety.
Is style important in 1,500 metres? Because there's a great contrast in style, the workman-like style of someone like Peter Snell compared to Steve Cram, who we've just seen.
You get all different styles and all different physiques, which makes it fascinating. I think the thing that categorised Elliott, Cram, Cohen, Ovett was that although they were all different physically, they're all very, very smooth and all really, really looked totally on top of their running. Snell wasn't the prettiest of runners, but very, very effective. Kino was very smooth.
So you hitchhiked up to Edinburgh, stood in the crowd in 1970. 8 years later, you were winning it yourself in Edmonton. You weren't really too fit coming into those games.
Well, I mean, it was the old virus problem. I arrived in Edmonton about 2 weeks before the games, and I'd got a bit of a cold. And I shared with Brendan, which was really fortunate, because there was a great temptation to push on, you know, to train too hard. But he sort of held me back, and we trained a lot together. He won his gold medal in the 10,000 metres and sort of inspired me and helped me considerably. And we had a nice, enjoyable couple of drinks after I won mine, and we were the only 2 English track winners, so it was very special memories.
You didn't recall too much about the race half an hour ago. Did it all come flooding back?
It did. I mean, I can remember the end, but the middle bit and the beginning, as I say, you know, it was only watching it today that you remembered what happened. And so many of these situations, it's a blur. Everything happens so quickly that afterwards it's very difficult to reflect on it. I'm sure that's the same with, you know, many great experiences that people have. It's all over too quickly. But it's nice to have seen it and to confirm that it actually did take place. And
you didn't remember that you nearly fell in the first 30 yards there.
Then he tippled over. All those things we talk about and how clever we are, talking about how other people should run tactically. And I nearly came a pearler.
Right, that's fate. Let's bring things right up to date then. Let's take a look back at the 2 semi-finals that decided the lineup for tonight's men's 1,500 metres final. First semi-final. First of all, of course, it was decided well in advance that Seb Coe wouldn't be there. But this was Heat 1. It had Peter Elliott going. It had Tony Morell as well, Neil Horsfield for Wales, Mark Kirk for Northern Ireland. First semi-final of the men's 1,500 metres.
Now let's hope they can stay out of trouble. Karachi has. He's dropped to the back of the pack, and so too has Peter Elliott. And it's the back of the pack that's most interesting at the moment. The 2 favourites lie back there as the New Zealander and Mark Kirk of Northern Ireland take it on, with Botswana in close attendance and Tony Morell running wide. And they've negotiated the early part while the pace has stretched a little, then it slowed down, and now it's stretching out again, with Mark Kirk quite happy to take it on a little bit.
I'm sure Tony Morell and Peter Elliott have been told today to stay out of the trouble, stay out of the bunch and keep yourselves to the side, because there was a big discussion and big arguments last night about the 800 metres, and I'm sure the boys don't want to get involved in that. But Peter Elliott, you know, he's been here for a couple of weeks now. He's been running well in training, he's been running well in the races he's run here, and he's just been itching to get out on the track. He watched the 800 metres yesterday, and he was hating every minute of it. He would much rather have been out there than sitting in the radio commentary box next to us, which is what he was doing. So the business starts now for Peter Elliott.
And he's in on the curb, and at this slow pace, he's not going to be comfortable there. Look at that, 64.16 for the first 400 metres. Mark Kirk taking it on, but it's not a comfortable ride for Peter Elliott. He can switch, he can get to the outside fairly soon. He wants to take it easy to start with, and Karachi's still at the back of the pack, and these two may be watching one another. But with 5 to make it, you'd think this would be a fairly relaxed run. Tony Morell making no mistakes and keeping wide, running in the white and green. He's got Pat Scammell just ahead of him, and just inside them. Teloso blue in blue for Botswana. And they come up with 2 laps to go now. Still Mark Kirk from Pat Scammell from the Botswana Talesi. Then the New Zealander O'Donoghue, and running wide with Neil Horsford on the inside, but Tony Morrell moving up ground and now taking up the 3rd place. Peter Elliott still in the pack, but he's moving slightly off the curb, and Karachi is with him in the all red of Kenya.
With a pointer for tomorrow, there was 62-second lap, so they're not even doing any business now. They're going to have to start accelerating, and immediately I said that Mark Kirk starts to wind it up. He'll have seen the split time, and he knows it has to be a little faster to give him any chance in the finale. But it'll be an interesting pointer towards tomorrow to watch this relative speed of Wilfred Karachi and Peter Elliott. Peter going quickly through the field now. He's decided he's not going to wait any longer. 550 meters to go, and that's what he's intending to do. He's taken a few yards out of Karachi, and let's see how much he can take it easy on the last lap, because he's in the best position of all now.
Well, Karachi has moved up as well. Moved himself into position, into 6th place as Peter Elliott takes it on from Pat Scammell, and then Tony Morrell from Mark Kirk, who's dropping back, and O'Donoghue of New Zealand, and Karachi just behind Mark Kirk in about 6th place at the moment. And Peter Elliott looking as though he wants to stretch his legs and feel the pace, running into the wind, just tilting about. Scammell in 2nd, Morrell in 3rd, then the New Zealander, then Karachi, and these 5 are getting away, and the rest can do all the worrying. The 5 have broken clear, and it really is the big 5. Peter Elliott easing his way round, taking a look. Tony Morrell's in company, Scammell's up there, the New Zealanders coming in, O'Donoghue, and then Karachi. And Karachi can have a look around and know that all is well. And all is well. And these 5 can trot home now. Peter Elliott easing his way down. Tony Morrell making certain of 2nd. Wilfred Karachi coming into 3rd. Then O'Donoghue, then Pat Scammell. And they'll have to wait to see Alan Bunce to see whether it's one of the qualifiers. It's 5 plus 2. And Neil Horsford just come across the line there, 3:42. And it really was a ramble, Brent.
Ron, you know what happens there? When you're running as well as Peter Elliott is, you can't keep the lid on it. He just couldn't keep it down any longer, and it just came out. He ran 56 for the penultimate lap. He was absolutely flying there, and I think the tactics he used today may be a pointer towards tomorrow. 550 meters to go, and he just took off. And there he goes, running down the finishing straight. Tony Morrell coming nicely into 2nd place. Karachi giving him a few yards. If he makes that mistake tomorrow, that may cost him the race. But Peter Elliott came here to do a job. He started at round 1.
On your marks. .1500 meters, 3 3/4 laps of the track. Described as Heat 2, but in fact, effectively the 2nd semi-final. Gary Barber of Canada going off in front from Dave Campbell of Canada and Simon Doyle, Australia. John Walker tucked on the inside. Looks like Tanui coming wide. Tanui, Brendan, he's 25, won the Kenyan trials, very much a newcomer to the international scene. He's not been around very much, has he?
Apparently this is only his 2nd international competition. The first one when he ran for Kenya at Portsmouth last year. But the thing was, he looked so impressive in the 1,000 meters we saw here the other night. And quite sensibly, the Canadians taking this pace out for about 45 seconds for the first 300 meters, which means that they could run easily faster than 3:46, which is what the slowest qualifiers did, Mark Kirk, in the previous heat. So there would be a chance of 7 of these men going through to the final. And that's a good idea that the Canadians taken up.
It's got to be right, hasn't it? That 60 seconds, 61 seconds just inside for the first lap. So they're about 3 seconds faster than in the first semi-final. Gary Barber leading Tanui in 2nd place. 3rd is the Jamaican Mackenzie. 4th, the Australian Doyle. Then 5, John Walker. 6 is Dave Campbell, the Commonwealth Games bronze medalist of 4 years ago. Keeping an eye on Ian Hamer. About 3 from the back at the moment. First 5 go through, plus the 2 fastest losers. And certainly, if they go on like this, the 2 fastest losers will come from this semi-final. Just over 2 laps to go. Barber's eased off. Doyle moves around the inside. The pace slows. Tanui on the near side, and Mackenzie, Walker and Campbell together. Taya Botswana, Hamer of Wales.